Hello everybody, and welcome to MoodTube. I'm your host, Paul Malamud. Before we get the show started, I'd first like to wish everybody a very happy new year. Now, on with the show. Well, we made it. After 256 of the most exciting and unpredictable regular season games, we have gone from 32 teams down to 12. It's the NFL playoffs, baby. And 4 weeks from now, a champion is going to be crowned at MetLife Stadium. It's Wild Card Weekend, and we've got 4 great games to watch. But before we get to breaking down this week's matchups, let's look back at how we got to where we are. The 2014 regular season went out with a bang in Week 17, just like it should have. We saw records fall. We had overtime finishes and a last-second game winner. And when it was all said and done, everything came out mood. That's right. With all the playoff uncertainty that we had going into last weekend, things unfolded exactly as I said they would. Not only did I correctly predict the playoff seedings, but I also went 8-3 in my picks for the final week of the season. And if that wasn't enough, I continued to show my fantasy prowess, winning another $250 in the Barstool FanDuel League. The most important part of the week for me, however, was that Woody Johnson and Jets general manager John Idzik did the right thing, and they announced that they are keeping Rex Ryan for next season. And the video of the Jets mobbing Rex in the locker room after Woody announced that he would be back was absolutely incredible. I'm very excited about this team's future, but we've got plenty of time to talk about that this offseason. Now for last week's action. Let's start with the battle for the final AFC wildcard spot. Just like I said they would, the Jets handled the Dolphins, and the Bengals put an exclamation point on their season with a 17-point victory over the Ravens. But the Chargers still had to take care of business against the Chiefs. This proved to be more than difficult for Philip Rivers and company than I thought they would. But with both Alex Smith and Jamal Charles sitting the game out, Kansas City came to play. The game went to overtime after Ryan Suckup missed a 41-yard field goal, although video replay proved that they should have had another chance to kick it because there's too many Chargers on one side of the field. But none of that matters. The Chargers got the ball to start overtime, and Nick Novak nailed a 36-yarder following a 16-play, 62-yard drive that ate up 9 minutes and 30 seconds of the clock. The Chiefs would get another chance, but Chase Daniel couldn't get the job done, and the Chargers were on their way to the dance. In the NFC, we had 2 divisions being decided by do-or-die games. The Packers and Bears met at Soldier Field in a matchup for the ages. The teams traded the lead back and forth the entire game, until the Bears took an 8-point lead 5 seconds into the fourth quarter on a Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall touchdown pass. Unfortunately for the Chicago faithful, the Packers were being quarterbacked by Aaron Rodgers in Week 17 and not Matt Flynn. The Cheeseheads got a quick score on an Eddie Lacy TD. Then, on 4th and 8 from the Bears' 48-yard line, with 38 seconds to go, Rodgers exploited a busted coverage by the Bears and found a wide-open Randall Cobb for the game-winning touchdown. And the Packers advance. In Dallas, Kyle Orton did his best to make up for the loss of Tony Romo. Unfortunately, his best wasn't good enough. The Cowboys got the ball back, down 2 with a minute and 49 seconds to go. On first down, Orton was intercepted by Brandon Boykin. The Eagles got one last first down, and the game was over. Lastly, it would be straight up rude of me if I didn't congratulate Peyton Manning on the best season by a quarterback in NFL history. Manning broke Tom Brady's single-season touchdown record in Week 16 and followed that up last week by breaking Drew Brees' single-season yardage record. When it was all said and done, Payne's regular season stat line looked like this. He tossed 55 touchdowns on 5,447 yards for an incredible passer rating of 115.1. Congrats on an out-of-this-world regular season, Payne. Now do me a favor and win the Super Bowl so that we can officially crown you the GOAT. Before I can move on to this week's wildcard matchups, there's something else that I must do. On Sunday, 2 of the NFL all-time greats likely played their last game. Yes, I'm of course talking about Tony Gonzalez and London Fletcher. Both players were not only Hall of Famers on the field, but Hall of Famers off it as well. What is there to say about Tony Gonzalez's skill on the field, other than he is without a doubt the greatest tight end to ever play the game? Even further, he is one of the best receiving weapons of all time. Gonzalez's 15,127 career receiving yards are good enough for 5th on the all-time list, placing him behind only Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, and Isaac Bruce. Like Rice, Gonzalez will forever be known as the measuring stick that we use to compare the greatest players at his position. And it's not like Gonzalez acquired those stats by hanging around too long. No, even this season, his 17th in the NFL, Gonzalez was the focus of opposing defenses every week. Now, Mike Ditka is known as the player responsible for revolutionizing the tight end position into a weapon in the passing game. But Tony Gonzalez is responsible for turning the tight end position into the valuable commodity that it is today. Now, I was a tight end back in my playing days. And ever since then, I've always said that a good tight end is a quarterback's best friend, because they're big and they've got great soft hands. Gonzalez is the player responsible for making that so. He was the first tight end to become a team's #1 offensive weapon. Without him, there would be no Antonio Gates, Jimmy Grahams, Rob Gronkowski's, or Julius Thomas's. He truly is the GOAT of his position, and without a doubt a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. The NFL will surely miss him, and I miss him the best of luck in his retirement. As for London Fletcher, the man is arguably the most unheralded superstar in NFL history. He is a true titan of a man. He played in every game throughout his 16-year career that spanned 3 teams. Fletcher retires having started his team's last 215 regular season games, a streak that dates back to November of 2000, and is good enough to tie him for 6 on the all-time list for consecutive start streak. The most impressive thing about Fletcher is that since his 3rd year in the league, he has recorded at least 111 tackles every season, with his 16th season, this season, being the year that he set his career low of 111. Throughout his entire career, he has averaged 127 tackles a season, and that's when you include his rookie year, when he only notched 14 tackles. If you take out the season that Fletcher averaged an unbelievable, if you take out that season, Fletcher averaged an unbelievable 134.5 tackles per season. Fletcher has been a leader on the field and off the field. He should be remembered as one of the best linebackers of all time, and is in my mind an absolute first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, let's finally talk about this weekend's games. We have 4 great matchups, with 3 of them being rematches of games played earlier this season. Let's start with the first game on Saturday, with the Chiefs at Colts on 4:35 Saturday afternoon. If it feels like we just saw this game played, it's because we did. The Colts and Chiefs met only 2 weeks ago in Kansas City, and the Colts dominated in a 23-7 victory. Now, the Colts had to reinvent their offense following the loss of Reggie Wayne this season, and they've done so quite masterfully. They're one of the hottest teams in the NFL going right now, and they have a chance to make a run in this playoffs. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have been bad following their 9-0 start to the season, losing 5 of their last games. Right now, the game's set as a pick-em, and I'm taking the Colts over the Chiefs. The Colts are just playing too well right now, and I just don't trust this Chiefs team that has only won 2 out of their last 7. I'm taking the Colts. Now for Saturday night game, it's a game, the Saints playing at the Eagles at 8:10 Saturday night in Philadelphia. Now this is the only game this wildcard weekend that isn't a rematch from earlier this season. It features 2 of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL, and a Saints team that sneakily has a very good defense. We are all well aware of the Saints' struggles on the road, and I think it's going to be a tough one for them in Philadelphia. It's been a while since the Eagles have been in the playoffs, and their fans are going to be out in full force going hard body, cheering on their team. Right now the Eagles are giving up 2.5 points to the Saints, and I'm taking Philadelphia, giving up 2.5 over the Saints. It looks like the Eagles are going to fly, Eagles fly, onto the divisional round. Now for Sunday's games. The 1 o'clock game is the Chargers at the Bengals. Now this is another rematch from earlier in the season when the Bengals eked out a close one, winning 17-10 out in San Diego. The Bengals have the potential to play like the best team in the NFL. But the only problem is you never know which Bengals team you are going to get. Right now, the spread's going off for the Bengals, giving up 6.5 points to the Chargers. I'm taking the Bengals. I just think that playing at home, they're the far superior team. They're going to come out and they're going to play well. Marvin Lewis is going to get his first playoff win as the Bengals coach, and they're going to advance to the divisional round. I'm taking the Bengals, giving up 6.5. And now for the last game. This is, I believe, the best game of this wild card weekend. The 49ers at the Packers at 4:40 Sunday afternoon. Not only is it a rematch of one of this season's most exciting games, the Week 1 Sunday night thriller, but it's also a rematch from last year's divisional round. The 49ers got the best of the Packers in both those matchups, but both of those games were played in San Francisco. In the playoffs last year, Colin Kaepernick beat the Packers with his legs. In the Week 1 matchup, he did it with his arms. If the 49ers are going to win this game, it's going to be because they do it on the ground. The Packers' defense is very susceptible to the run, and they're playing without Clay Matthews, who was the player largely responsible for keeping Kaepernick's running game in check back in Week 1. As I've said, this is the game that I'm most looking forward to this weekend, so it's only fitting that's the last one to be played. The 49ers need to run the ball if they want to win this game. Kaepernick, after his great passing game, got too full of himself and they tried to throw the ball too much. And that's why they struggled earlier in the season. If they want to win, they've got to run it. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be really tight. The Packers right now are getting 2.5 points over the 49ers. I think it's going to be a really close game, so I'm taking the points. I think the 49ers win, but it's only going to be by about 1 point. So I'm taking the Packers getting 2.5 points. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is playing too well, and he's back. They've got the running game, the passing game, that they're not going to lose this one by more than a field goal. So Packers getting 2.5 points. That's it for this week's episode of MoodTube. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Moody Sports and on Twitter at MoodTube. You can also find me online on my website, moodysports.com. I'll see you all next week, but in the meantime, don't forget to check out the tube, because you got to see Mood.